Okay, as you can see, I've modeled the third part. I'm going to let you tackle that one on your own if you have the opportunity. And if not, we're going to move on with the drawings here anyways. On here, let's go ahead and add a new drawing. So we're going to go create drawing instead of Part Studio. And this is a different environment where we can do our multi-view drawings and annotate. Now, when I first bring this up, it automatically comes up to the sizes I use most often. When you first open this up, you're going to see all the different templates, the different standards. So we have ANSI, which ANSI is American National Standards Institute, and ISO is the International Standards Organization. And they both have inch and metric standards, but they do things a little bit differently. And that A, B, C, D, E that you see is the different sizes of paper that you're going to draw on. So size A is our standard 8.5 by 11. Size B is 11 by 17. Most of the time we're going to be drawing on size A. At times we might draw on size B if we need more paper, or we might draw on a size D because then it can scale down to size B because it's actually twice the size. So as you see, there's a pattern to this. 8.5 by 11. 11 becomes the new width, and you double the length. So 8.5 now becomes 17. 17 comes down. 11 times 2 is 22, and so on. Interestingly enough, architectural drawings are 9 by 12, 12 by 18, following the same pattern in a similar size, but very costly to get a printer and also have a piece of paper that is those odd sizes. So in our classroom, we'll be using mostly size A, B, or D. And even if we use a bigger size, we have to scale it. So we also have the option, because of the template as it comes up, you have to choose at the beginning when you start your file, do you want a standard inches, which is going to be landscape, or will your drawing fit better on portrait? Typically, we'll do the landscape. So we'll go ahead and bring in ANSI A inches. Takes a moment to load. And you'll notice we get a few things pop up right away. It's already asking us, what do we want to put on our piece of paper? And down here we see it automatically populates with your username and the size piece of paper and how many pages we have in our drawing. So right now it says 1 of 1. Okay, so the other thing that this automatically does, it realizes you want to bring in a view, and it automatically opens up your part studios and assemblies within this document, or you can also search Onshape for other documents. And Inventor and Fusion work a little differently than this. So what we will need to do here, let's go in and pick the window. And you'll notice if I do a 2:1 scale, that's going to take up almost the whole page. And if I go select a 1:1, that's going to be really small. So what you actually can do is actually type a custom scale if you want to. And in this part, I'm going to go 1.5 to 1. That'll be my ratio. I hit enter, and yeah, it looks like that'll be a pretty good size. So then that is bringing in the front view. If you didn't pick the right orientation, then hopefully one of your other views will be the best view to pick and select for this. So hopefully one of the other views will be, I don't know if there's a way to do a custom view. It doesn't look like it, not in Onshape. So that means you need to pick a good view for the front view when you start drawing. So we can go ahead and place that, and then automatically you'll notice up at the top on the menu where the tools are, it's selected to do a projected view. So I'm going to project a top view, and then it's still asking and expecting me to project more views. I want to go back to the front view and click again to select it, and I can project the right side view, and then a third time go and select and drag diagonally, and that will preview and give me an isometric. Show hidden lines, show hidden lines. And on my isometric view, sometimes you'll see those as shaded. So I could do show shaded view, and it will shade the isometric. Okay, we've already dimensioned this on pencil and paper in our notebooks, and that's how we built it. So now to do a professional dimension drawing, we're going to select our dimension tool and just add those dimensions in. So there's inch and an eighth, and I can just click on the side. Now for the widths, I can't do that. For the other width locations, I'm going to need to select the endpoints that I want to measure to. So when you hover on an endpoint, of course, the vertex turns orange. And you'll see you have all these places where you could decide to put your dimension. Typically, you want it in the middle, and we notice we see a red line that lines up and says, hey, that's in the middle. Okay, you wouldn't put it in the middle if the dimensions start interfering with each other. So there's my 3 widths. Then I also would want my heights. So let's click endpoint to endpoint. There are much faster ways of dimensioning once we are able to use Fusion. And then of course the full width, and because that is not a solid line, we have to pick the endpoints. And see, on this case, see how those numbers are kind of running into each other. So even though that was the middle, I might drop that down a little bit. There we go. It looks better anyways. So there's our 3 widths, so we have our 3 heights. All we have left is the depth. So we could go ahead and add the depths, and I would probably put those on the right side. And of course, what that means is, for this particular part, I do not need the top view. So I could go ahead and just delete that, because it's really not helping me. And the right side view gives more of the story of what the dimensions are. So I don't really need the top view. So that would be dimensioning the little window part.